patterns of play at Manchester United, but most importantly, reoccurring shapes, reoccurring players, and the players having an understanding when to go and when to rotate. Patterns of play, positional rotation, all of these beautiful buzzwords. Let's get into it. Now, I want to focus on Manchester United's left-hand side against Real Betis. Most importantly, Harry Hamas and Marcus Rashford. Okay? And I've got a few examples to break it down. Let's start off with the first example. Okay? Rashford has tucked in. He isn't occupying the position of a touchline winger. No, Marcus Rashford has tucked in to play closer to the forward players, having them in close proximity, but we'll touch on that later. Marcus Rashford is tucked in. Hamas is holding the width. Now, where the magic in this is, when Marcus Rashford tucks in, he leaves the fullback in a dilemma, which is you either track me, but then you leave Hamas out wide, or you leave me to roam in the centre and go and mark Hamas. And the beauty in it is, it's all about creating space for your fullback or for your wide player to get the ball in isolation with space to attack. This is why a lot of teams do overloads. Overloads are all about having that numerical advantage. Why? It's easier to pass the ball around, but most importantly, it occupies the opposition, which means one of your teammates will be left free. And that's the person you have to feed. We've got another example. Once again, Marcus Rashford's tucked in. Hamas is out wide. A few seconds later, one diagonal, Hamas is in. Down the left-hand side, all that space to attack. Now, let's flip it. Okay? Let's look at where, as you can see, where Hamas tucks in. He's now tucked in and doing the same job that Marcus Rashford was doing a few minutes ago. He's now tucked in, occupied an opposition player, created overloads. Whilst Rashford, from what you can see, is on the left-hand side, open, free. And once again, a few seconds later, Marcus Rashford is on the attack. And the thing I love about this is the fact that Marcus Rashford receives the ball in isolation, with time, with space to attack. And Hamas has now gone from being in the central area to trying to overlap Rashford. Because as you can see, it's a 2v1 at the moment, but he's like, nah, I got your back. Let's make it a 2v2. And then you've got another example later on in the first half. Once again, Hamas has tucked in. And look at how high he is. He's tucked in knowing the fullback now has to choose. Either he sticks with me in a more central, dangerous area, or he pushes out wide to mark Marcus Rashford. But if he does that, I'm now free. It's all about dictating how the opposition play with your movement. And it was impressive and it was nice to see. Now, the second pattern that I saw, and it's one that we saw last year, Manchester United tried at times, not very frequently, but we saw it against Real Betis. And once again, it touches on the same concepts of play. It touches on overloads. It touches on creating space for your teammates. And most importantly, having that chemistry to know when to go, when not to go. You look at the first example, and this came from an offside goal that Jadon Sancho scored. Manchester United have the ball in their own half, passing it around. They're waiting for Real Betis to push forward. But you look at Manchester United's offensive line. Look at how many bodies are forwards. Now, this can be risky and it can work against you. But when it does work, you score a goal within a matter of 2-3 passes. The point is, Man United are holding onto the ball in their first half, pushing bodies forward. The problem is, Real Betis now are at a numerical disadvantage because they've pushed half their team forwards to try and press Manchester United. Look at how many Man United players are in Real Betis' half in comparison to them. We've got that numerical advantage, which means, similar to what we touched on with Rashford and Hamas, there is going to be a Man United player that's free, that's unmarked. And that's where it's the responsibility of whoever's on the ball to find him. And the funny thing is, Ahmad makes the run in. Sancho also makes the run in. It becomes a 2v1. And to be fair, that should have been a goal. But the point is, create overloads, because with overloads, there will always be, at minimum, one player who's free. And the second example is one that we saw last year in the Premier League where Marcus Rashford holds the flanks. And it's like a decoy. It's like, this is the start of our attack. He holds the flank, waits to receive the ball. His teammates know. When Rashford is in that position, we know what's coming next. But the opposition don't. Which is a first-time pass over the top. We saw it last year. Marcus Rashford tried it with Rasmus Højlund against Brighton. We saw it in the last preseason game against Arsenal, where Rasmus Højlund went on to score. But the funny thing is, this is classified as a pattern of play. So many times people look at patterns and think it has to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touches where the whole team is involved. It's nice. It's aesthetically pleasing. But sometimes 2, 3 passes put you in on goal. And like we saw against Arsenal in pre-season, like we saw last year, Rasmus Højlund against Brighton, but it was cleared off the line. Rashford receives the ball. The runners are running because they know what's coming next. The pass was overhit, but the point is, it's another dimension of play where at times, rather than passing the ball around, rather than trying to do what we discussed at the beginning of the video, the overloads to free up the winger, why not create the overloads out wide and try and free up the central players to make the run in behind? And those were 2 patterns that I saw reoccurring. If it happens once or twice, it's not really reoccurring. You wouldn't really classify it as a pattern of play. This was a common theme against Real Betis. And clearly, it's to get the best out of Marcus Rashford out wide. And secondly, to get the best out of Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee, who will most likely lead the line for Manchester United. Physical number 9s that want to attack the space and run in behind. But anyways, if you're new, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the like, make sure to comment. Let me know how you think the video went, and I will catch you guys on another one.